And welcome back to DucBloke Tuning, Find the Sweet Spot. Today I have 4 IEMs. This is going to be a speed run. I'm trying to catch up on some backlog. 4 IEMs that I'm going to do a short review on and show you the PEQ tunings that I came up with. First one is the Dunu X Gizaudio Da Vinci, and I've owned this for quite some time. I just haven't had time to do a review on it. And I thought, so many people have reached out to me via email and said, hey, do you have the PEQ for this? And I always just had a best guess, but I had it sitting on my desk. So I finally got stuck into it today, and I came up with some pretty good tunings for it. It's an excellent IEM. What makes it excellent is the way that they've implemented the crossovers on this. And it's only a 2DD 4BA set. It's about $300. It uses stabilized wood as the face plates, and then it has a resin shell. But what they've done with this crossover is quite unique for this low of driver count, and that's what we're going to really focus on, what they've done with the crossover to make this tune so well. So like I said, this is an enhanced 5-way frequency crossover with 5 separate acoustic tubes. They're taking the 6 drivers that are in it, and they're only combining 2 of them. The others are separated to create different zones within the crossover. Let's spend some time here. So this has an impedance of 35 ohms, so the impedance is quite high. You don't hear any white noise when you listen to these. It has a sensitivity of 109 dB, signal noise ratio or threshold to noise of 0.5%, which is quite good. So here you can see the 5 zones. Everything from 100 down is zone 1, then 100 to 400 is zone 2, and then we got 400 to 2.2 kilohertz, that's zone 3, 2.2 kilohertz up to 8, and then 8 to 40 kilohertz. Now, nobody listens at 40 kilohertz. In fact, above 15, it's kind of useless. But it does have a separate zone that it's tuned to for the 8 to, let's say, 15, 16 kilohertz, which is what people do actually hear. These are the drivers, and these are the zones that they're tuned to. So you can see you've got 2 different size BAs. You've got a 10 millimeter BA, which is handling the sub bass. Then you have an 8 millimeter BA that's handling that 100 to 400. And then you have 2 BAs handling the mids. You've got 1 BA handling the treble, and then you've got the ultra highs with the last BA. So that's the way they've split this out, giving it 5 different zones with 6 drivers. One of the nice things about this set is the tip selection it comes with. I've always been a fan of Dunu's tips, especially the Dunu candies. I use these if I want to add bass to something, if I am doing some tip rolling, which I don't often do nowadays, but most of my stuff is PEQ. But if you do want to add bass to something, I've actually used these on TWS to add bass. The Dunu candies are quite good, and they seal really well. There's also the SS tips, which are quite popular. They don't fit me very well, but other people have said had really good success with those SS tips. So it comes with a full set of those. It also comes with this really nice cable, the Leo cable. And I've got the cable here. Wanted to show you that it's modular. And it's modular in a nice way because, again, it has this knurled, okay, there it is. Screw that on. So that's the 4.4. It actually comes with a 3.5 and a 2.2 as well. So it's quite a chunky, I like chunky brown cables. This came with a chunky brown cable. It also has very unique stabilized wood faceplates. No 2 are the same. So my set right here are going to be different. They're different to each other, and they're different than every other set that's on the screen. So every one of these is unique, which is kind of cool. So you can feel like you have a unique bit of, let's say, history, because that piece of wood came from a different tree. So really cool. I like what Dunu did with the SA6. I had the SA6 Mark II. The way that they used that stabilized wood on it was quite beautiful, and they carried that over to the DaVinci as well. So here's the trace. If you go to my Squig.Link, that's DucBloke.Squig.Link, you will find this trace up on the site. You can see that it is tuned very well. It is very even, so bass to treble is very even. So there's the bass region, the treble region. The peaks are very similar to each other, and it also has a very good tuck on the bass that happens at 200 hertz, and that's because of that 5-way crossover. So they were able to get very good treble extension as well as a very good, what I would call U-shaped tune out of this. But I did tune it and make it sound a lot better, which is what this channel is all about. This is neutral, and neutral I added about 3 dB of sub bass to it. I glided it in the same into that upper bass region into the lower mids. I had a later Pina gain. I followed it through at about the same treble region. I did give it a little bit more spice at 6K. I pushed it to the edge of sibilance and then backed it off. And then I gave it a little bit more treble extension. So that's my neutral setting. Hard hitting elevates the bass again by another 1.5 dB, but everything else remains the same all the way up. Sparkle setting, you lower that bass back down again. And I've added more treble in this region. You can see this is elevated. We'll go back here and you can see how low this is here on neutral and then where this is on the sparkle setting. So those are the three tunings on the DaVinci. The DaVinci, I would say, is definitely an A tier. I didn't give this a score, but if I had to off the top of my head, I would call it a low A tier out of the box and probably an upper A tier after tuning. And let's now talk about the Moondrop X Crinacle Dusk 3. So this was sent to me by Liam. He asked me to tune this for him. This will be going back to you tomorrow, Liam. This came in, I believe, on Thursday or Friday for a tuning service with one other IEM, and I've completed that. I'm now going to send him back the tunings for this specific to this IEM. What we have here is 2 dynamic drivers, 2 balanced armatures, and 2 magnetic planars. And those planars work really well in the high end. Now this only has a 3-way crossover versus a 5, but I actually think this sounds better. This takes to tuning like a hobo on a ham sandwich. It is really, really good. The impedance on this is 14.5 ohms. Don't let that fool you. It takes a lot to drive this. I found that I had to really crank this up in order to get a lot out of it. So it is an energy hungry IEM, but it does sound very, very good. So here's what you get. You get these DDs that face each other and fire at each other. I believe they call this an isobaric configuration where the dynamic drivers are 180 degrees horizontally opposed to each other, and when they fire, that actually gives you more bass feel. And they also have 2 BAs and 2 microplanars that are in them. They have a resin cell and they have a carbon fiber front. The microplanars that are in this are a new miniature microplanar, and they do excellent job of treble extension. So I was really impressed with how well these extended the treble and how much texture I got out of those microplanars as well. They work very fast, so I'm not surprised that this is a Crin collab, and it sounds really good. These are the 2 DDs horizontally opposed to each other, firing at each other, and it gives you more rumble. If you look at the faceplates on these, similar to the Dunu Da Vinci, they are unique. Every single one of them is going to be different because what they do is they take a multi-layer carbon fiber sheet and they grind this away. They create a rounded surface on that sheet that gives you a very unique look. It actually does say dusk on it. It's sort of burned into it. There, I think I got it in the light, but it does say dusk on the carbon fiber. It comes with 2 different cables, and that was something that was very unique about Crinacle did here. He released it with a 3.5 cable as well as a USB-C cable, and the USB-C cable works with an app from Moondrop that allows you to apply different tunings to this. So in a sense, they're giving you options to tune this the same way I would do a PEQ at using software. So there's the Moondrop Dusk in the software, and here you can see there's Dusk Default, there's V, there's Harmon, there's Bass Plus, and then there's a diffused tilted, and it gives you 6 PEQ options. So full PEQ, so you've got frequency, gain, and Q value that you can apply to it, but it's only 6. And when I tune, I do 10 usually, sometimes 11 even, or 12. So it's good to use something like Power Amp. But this is a simplified version of what you would use in Power Amp that you can load onto your phone and run. But I found when I ran this software, it wasn't incredibly stable, but it's a great start in the industry to applying USB-C dongle DAC cables that have the ability to load different PEQ settings into them. First up, it's very balanced. This is what I measured again at DucBloke.Squig.Link. You can see treble and bass are very level to each other. It is a very U-shaped tuning. It has excellent treble extension. Really well done with those microplanars. When I tuned it, this is the neutral setting. I added probably about 4.5 dB of bass to it. Again, I brought my Pina gain up slightly later, and I actually made this a little bit brighter. I thought it was a little bit warm out of the box, and plus because I added all this bass to it, I had to elevate those trebles as well, but still kept a U-shaped tuning to it. The hard hitting setting, I elevated this again by about 1.5 dB, kept that the same all the way through the treble region, and then the sparkle I elevated this again, pushed it to the edge of sibilance and then backed it off. So 3 different settings. If you contact me and you own this IEM, I will send you all 3. And I'm sure that Liam is going to be very happy with the tuning that I came up with, the Moondrop X Crinacle. Next up, KEEPHIFI. They reached out to me and they said, hey, look, we've got a couple of IEMs we want to send you. And I said, send them over. I'll do a review if I think they're any good. If not, I'll give you some feedback. And I found these to be pretty good. $56. Actually, if you go on to Amazon, you can apply a coupon and get it for $49. We have the KB03, and this is a 1DD, 1BA, 1 bone conduction drive. It's probably the cheapest bone conduction driver out there. Set. It is a 3.5 cable, comes in different colors, comes in purple, comes in green. I happen to get the green one that they sent to me. Here it is. That's the green shell. Can't really see it that well, but trust me, they're green. They sound pretty decent. What I did notice when I did my measurements, and this is off of their site, right here at about 200 hertz, there's a really funny trace that comes in, and that's from the bone conduction that's in here. It gives you this funny frequency response. It's the same sort of thing that I got when I measured this on Squig, and you'll be able to see that. There's the coupon that you can apply and get this for $49.50, $49.49 on Amazon. There's what I measured. So you can see that one has more on my Squig, the right and the left. So the left side seemed to have more of an impact than the right side when I did my measurements. Everything else was pretty well channel matched. I thought this was pretty well matched as well with bass to treble, except I thought it dropped off pretty early, although it does have bone conduction, which is kind of tricky because that applies a lot of rumble having that bone conduction in there. And what's different about this set, and what's the same about this set, is Celeste Plutus Beast, I should say, the Celeste Plutus Beast, which is made by KBEAR, has the same bone conduction in it. And I don't know if you can hear this. I'm going to tap that. But it's like it's got a spring inside that sort of like flicks around. And this has the same exact driver as the Plutus Beast. I'm sure of it. Because when I do this, it makes that sound, and I can feel something wiggling inside the IEM. But better than that, I'm going to show you something. So I'm going to take a funny hertz signal that I'm going to play from my DAP here, and I'm going to put it onto the Plutus Beast. So I'm putting these on this surface just here. I'm going to play this. Okay. And I'm going to zoom in on this, and you can see how they're not moving, right? So you can hear it, but they're not moving. Now I'm going to plug in the KB03s and do the same thing. Put these down on the surface. Okay. You hear them? They're actually vibrating. Okay. I don't know if you can see those dancing, but they are. So kind of cool. But again, if you're sensitive, like it tickled me to be wearing these. I thought they were kind of unique in the way that they delivered their bass. So they're fun. They're a fun set, and I would actually recommend getting these just because of how fun they are and the price point they're at. So well done. So they're shaking in my hand right now. They're sort of tickling my fingers. Very unique set. Ooh, there it just jumped. There you can see it moving. This, by the way, this is it against the Plutus Beast, and you can see how the traces actually follow each other pretty closely. They've got the same Pina gain rise, they've got the same treble region pretty much, and they sort of follow each other all the way except for the sub bass. I think that the KBEAR KB03 has more sub bass, which you just saw it dancing on the table, which sort of points to that anyway. So because these vibrate so much and love to be rumbled, I added a lot of bass. This is the neutral setting that I made for it. I only made one setting for this. I pretty much kept the treble exactly the same. I did fill in that 6K region. I did have a later Pina gain, but everything else was pretty much the same. I made them less of a V. I made them more of a U-shaped tune. tuning, but I just made it more fun. This is a set that you would listen to if you were listening to EDM or hip hop. Lastly is the KZ Taurus, and this was also sent to me by KEEPHIFI, and this comes in at about $24, and you can find this on Amazon as well. And this is a 2DD, 8mm DD dynamic driver set, and they sent me the black smoke version. There it is, and it has, as you'd expect, it has a pretty cheap cable. You can get it, I believe, with or without microphone. Yep, right there, with or without microphone, and you can get it in 3 different colors. And this set actually sounds pretty decent, and I did a tuning for it as well. So it was worth tuning, and at this price point, I think this is an excellent little set to grab. So let's actually look at this. There's your 3 colors. You can get the black one, which is more like a smoke. That's what they call black right there. You can get the clear or the crystal, and then you can get the white, which is a solid white color of this. And it actually comes with really good tips. That was one thing I was impressed with. These black tips are very much the shape of, let's say, my DaVinci Velvets. They've got these little lines cut into them. They don't seal as well as DaVinci Velvets, but out of the box for a $24 set, they actually work really well. And it actually fits really well, too. You can see it in this guy's ears. It is actually a pretty good fitting IEM. So if you're on a budget, this is not a bad set to get with the 2 DDs in it. And a lot of sets at this price point only have a single driver, and this has 2. And there's the 2 8mm dynamic drivers. They're working separately. Here is what I measured. They are a very treble heavy set, so it's treble over bass. So they needed that bass region elevated quite a bit, and that's exactly what I did. So I upped the bass a lot, probably 9 dB. I added a lot of bass to this, but it does sound really good. I gave it, again, a later Pina gain, and I followed the treble out from about 4K, matched what they had tuned to in the first place. And with that, that's all 4 of the sets as a run through that were part of my backlog. So we did the Da Vinci, we did the Crinacle Dusk 3, we did the KBEAR KB03, and we did the KZ Taurus. And with that, please like and subscribe to the channel. Happy Sunday night. DucBloke out.